Help! Help! Help me! I don't understand how they fucking killed me now! Why? Why is it that they kill me so easily in this fucking match? Someone help! No, they'd think I'm full of shit. Why would you get tired at a job that requires standing, they would say, if you don't get tired hiking or even jogging? I don't know, it's just the way I am made and I have no control over it. My muscles are thin like strips of bacon. Did I ever work them out to get them bigger? Yes, and they've been sore countless times from these workouts. Have they gotten big? No, and I know exactly why, because nature made them that way. There's a video here on YouTube that explains why your muscles can't get bigger no matter how much you work out. It's all genetics. There's a chemical that stops muscles from growing any further once they get big enough, and the amount of this chemical differs from person to person based on their metabolism. If your metabolism is too fast, then it can't support feeding huge muscles. Your body won't let you have huge muscles. The less of this chemical you have, the bigger muscles you can get. The more of this chemical you have, the smaller your muscles stay. So the way my muscles are set up is that I can fling my weight around by doing pull-ups and stuff and do it easily, and I can do a chin-up with my chin going 2 inches higher than the bar, and I can do sit-ups with a 30-pound dumbbell resting on my chest. I don't know why, but I can. Yet have me carry something heavy like a piece of furniture, and the weight of it digs into the flesh on my fingers and makes them hurt, and also pulls my muscles and I feel hurt. I also get exhausted after 2 or 3 hours of manual labor, like physically spent to a point of dying. If I was on a crew, digging trenches, or putting out fires, or stalking a warehouse all day, I'd be exhausted to a point where one night's sleep wouldn't be enough rest. Maybe on day one of such a job, I'd start out at 100% strength. The second day, I'd be starting at 90% strength. The third day at 80%. So, could I go on like this indefinitely because the job requires me to? No, I'd be starting with less and less strength at a geometric progression with each passing day. So, I should not have a paying job? I should be homeless? Can you imagine how many homeless people there must be who are simply homeless for reasons like these? And they just get told that they're lazy instead? This isn't laziness. So now we established that we're all kind of trapped into having the bodies and the minds we have, and there is nothing much to be done about it. Once I realized this, that life isn't all about willpower and choice, that some things you do simply because you do them, and they happen simply because they happen, I started being worried what this may mean for my life, for my freedom and my future. What this means for how people will treat me, what opportunities I will and will not be permitted to have as a result. And I realized there is a lot of unfairness involved here, and I will always be at a terrible disadvantage in everything, because of my nature, at a disadvantage in how much I get paid, what jobs I can get, whether I will have friends or a love life. I also realized that unless I pretend to go along with popular opinions, popular beliefs, no matter how wrong they are, that is the only path to success. It doesn't matter how wrong I may think these popular opinions or society's accepted ways of self-conduct are. If I don't follow them, I will be put at a disadvantage by others. The problem is, I tried living my life this way. I tried to conceal my problems and everything that made me feel embarrassed from others. I've concealed my feelings and emotions and opinions, kept everything inside to fit in, and it's extremely difficult. Obviously, a lot of people make it look easy. Every day somebody can go around and smile and tell people they're doing well, despite what personal problems they might have, despite what issues they have with the world, and what unfairness they see in society or the world. I personally don't know if that's commendable of them or just plain wrong. I heard people who have the easiest time in appearing amiable to others are sociopaths. They can convince you they're the most wonderful, perfect person and make you be happy being around them, while in reality they're feeling nothing at all. In fact, they're probably possessed by a bunch of evil thoughts and all sorts of unpopular opinions, while they're pretending to be good. But they're just pretending. They hide their true nature. They hide how different they are, and people eat it up. They eat up their act. I've been told that I should do the same. I should pretend to be normal. This is where society seems really crazy to me. Why do you want to be surrounded by people who pretend to be normal but might be dangerous and you don't know? Do you want to date a significant other that might murder you one day? But that's okay, because for now he or she are pretending to be the greatest, kindest person in the world. So they could be a powder keg waiting to explode, but as long as you don't know that, you're fine with that. But somebody who seems weird because they don't hide their weirdness, but could also be a nice person, you would reject because they are openly weird. This seems very irrational to me. I'm just amazed by the type of people in the world out there who get the opportunities and treatment that will never be given to me just because I said or did something somebody finds strange. Yet these people can turn out to be horrible monsters or jerks if you meet them, and yet somehow they have more friends than me, better families, jobs, and opportunities. Right now I am expressing some unpopular beliefs for which I know I will be ostracized, for which I will be denied opportunities and disliked and treated like I'm not in my right mind for having them. Meanwhile, someone a million times worse out there will not lose out on anything because they hide their so-called dark side so well. I am baffled when I hear there are men who abuse spouses, men who have been in prisons, men who are just assholes and have no sympathy for anyone. Somehow they still get friends, somehow they still get girlfriends. I don't understand this. I never had a significant other. I've had people refuse to speak with me simply because I've expressed a strange or funny idea. Yet someone else can be a wife beater and still get a girlfriend, but I will express something strange or funny and I become isolated for it. So I can say something like, I masturbate to the physical pain through which I put my sexy teenage characters in my novel. And that will make people think I'm so strange they don't want anything to do with me. Yet some serial killer will be well respected because he hid that part of himself. It makes me feel as if this little quirk I just admitted makes me worse in the eyes of society than a serial killer, and I should be shunned more than a serial killer would be. So let's get into more strange and funny stuff that I believe. Actually, this next topic isn't all that strange by my standards. Let's get back to a certain individual I brought up earlier and explained how he became infamous. I feel bad for this 16-year-old kid, Skylar Attilano. See, isn't he cute and sexy? It's not because I believe him innocent of the crime. I'm not that stupid. I do believe he killed his 11-year-old half-brother and conspired to make it sound like the kid ran off and got lost somewhere to justify why he is suddenly missing. But I can envision this kid's psychology and why he was driven to commit such an act. I don't know if it's my writer's imagination or what, but I can imagine people's personalities, and I can see through most people, especially when they commit crimes like these. For example, I immediately knew that this guy George Zimmerman wasn't the kind of person he was letting on to be. Soon as I heard about him in the news, I immediately had it figured what kind of guy he is. And here's what I understood right away as soon as I heard about the Trayvon Martin incident. George Zimmerman wants to be a hero, but strictly for praise and attention, not because he genuinely cares like a real hero would. He has an obsession with becoming a hero, and he patrolled his neighborhood for bad guys with his gun, hoping, yes, I'm actually saying he was hoping for something bad to happen, so he can jump in with his gun to be a hero and save the day. Why? Not because he's a nice guy who cared, because he wants the praise and attention. And he sat there one night, frustrated that bad guys weren't showing up, so he can have an excuse to be a hero. He decided to go after Trayvon Martin because the kid looked suspicious in his hoodie, and because this was the best George was going to get as far as finding a criminal that night. George Zimmerman was just looking for a justification to commit some kind of heroic act because it's an obsession of his, and it was entirely based on selfishness, not protecting the neighborhood or anyone else. In the end, those who praised him for killing Trayvon Martin turned out wrong in doing so. After the jury found him not guilty, George Zimmerman did a lot of things to prove correct my assessment of him. It isn't difficult to read into people, not for me at least. I write characters in stories, and I could write a character like Zimmerman and describe his thought patterns. And if I did, you wouldn't find him a nice character, and I'd turn out right guessing what he is like in real life. So, going back to Skylar Attilano, based on what I gleaned from the news, this was a kid who had to deal with two annoying, crazy family members, and that is something I'm not a stranger to. I was raised by two annoying people, and if you think you can imagine how annoying these people are, multiply that by 100 and you might get the idea. I was also a precocious child, which didn't earn me any favors from close-minded adults. I don't think Skylar was precocious like me. I wish he was. He might not be in this mess right now.